Have you ever stopped to look closely at the letters on a page or a screen? We see them everywhere, but we often don't think about how they are designed. Many people use the words typeface and font as if they mean the same thing. It's a very common mix-up. However, in the world of design and typography, these two words have very distinct and important meanings. Understanding this difference can really change the way you see the world of text. It helps you appreciate the art behind the words we read every single day. Think of it like the difference between a song and a specific recording of that song. One is the idea, and the other is how you experience it. Let's start with the bigger idea, the typeface. A typeface is a family of related letters, numbers, and symbols that all share a common design. It's the overall style or look of the characters. When you talk about names like Helvetica, Times New Roman, or Arial, you're talking about typefaces. Each typeface has a unique personality. Some look modern and clean, like Futura. Others look classic and traditional, like Garamond. The designer who creates a typeface makes decisions about the shape of each letter, the thickness of the lines, and the little feet, or serifs, at the ends of the strokes. The typeface is the design concept, the blueprint for a whole family of letters. A font, on the other hand, is a specific variation within that typeface family. It's a particular style and size of a typeface. For example, Arial Bold at 12-point size is a font. Times New Roman Italic at 10-point size is another font. The font is the actual file or mechanism that you use to produce the text. It includes specific characteristics like weight, light, regular, bold, style, like italic, condensed, expanded, and size. So while Times New Roman is the typeface, the specific file on your computer for Times New Roman Bold is a font. You choose a typeface for its overall feel, and then you select specific fonts from that family to create emphasis and structure in your text. So why do people get these terms mixed up so often? The confusion mostly comes from the digital age. In the past, when printing used physical metal blocks, the distinction was very clear. A printer would have a drawer full of metal blocks for 10-point Garamond Italic, and that was one font. A different drawer held 12-point Garamond Bold, which was another separate font. With the arrival of computers, we started selecting typefaces from a single drop-down menu. When you select Arial from the menu, and then click the B button to make it bold, the software is simply switching to a different font file for you. This seamless digital process has blurred the lines for most users, making the two terms feel interchangeable. The history of these terms is rooted in the physical process of printing. For centuries, starting with Johannes Gutenberg's printing press around 1440, type was made from metal. Each character was a tiny piece of metal, a sort, with a raised letter on its end. A complete set of these metal sorts for one specific size and style was kept in a wooden case. This set was called a fount, from the old French word fondre, which means to cast or to melt. This referred to the molten metal used to create the type pieces. Each font was a tangible, heavy collection of metal blocks that a printer had to manually arrange to form words and sentences for printing. Imagine being a printer in the 18th century. Your workshop would be filled with large cabinets, each containing many shallow drawers. Each drawer would hold a single font, one size, one style. If you needed to set a headline in a large, bold style, you'd go to one drawer. For the main body text in a smaller, regular style, you would use a completely different drawer. This physical separation made the difference between the typeface, the design of the Garamond letters, for example, and the font, this specific drawer of 12-point Garamond Italic metal blocks, absolutely clear. The technology itself forced you to understand and respect the distinction between the two concepts. The transition to the digital world changed everything. In the 1980s, desktop publishing began to replace traditional typesetting. Instead of physical metal blocks, designers started working with digital files. These files contained the outline data for each character in a typeface family. Suddenly, you could scale a font to any size you wanted with just a click of a mouse. You no longer needed a separate font for every single size. This flexibility was revolutionary, but it also started to erode the old terminology. The word font began to be used more loosely to refer to the entire typeface family you could select from a menu on your computer. Today, when you install a typeface like Open Sans on your computer, you're often installing a package that contains multiple font files. There might be a file for Open Sans Regular, another for Open Sans Bold, one for Open Sans Italic, and so on. Software applications, like word processors and design programs, group these related font files together under the single typeface name in their menus. This makes the user experience much simpler and more intuitive. While this convenience is great, it's the primary reason why the technical distinction between typeface as the design and font as the specific digital file has become a piece of trivia known mostly to designers and typographers. For a designer, the choice of a typeface is one of the most important decisions in a project. It's about setting the entire mood and voice of a communication. The typeface acts as the visual tone of voice. A sturdy, bold, sans-serif typeface-like impact might be used for a movie poster that needs to shout for attention. A graceful, elegant serif typeface like Dido could be chosen for a high-fashion magazine cover to convey sophistication and luxury. The typeface is the first impression. It can make a message feel friendly and approachable, serious and authoritative, or playful and whimsical, all before a single word is even read. Once the main typeface is chosen, the designer then works with the various fonts within its family to create a clear visual hierarchy. This is the art of organizing information to guide the reader's eye through the content. For example, a designer might use a bold font for headlines to make them stand out. A lighter, regular font would be used for the main body text to make it easy to read over long passages. Italic fonts are often used for emphasis, captions, or to set apart a quote. By combining different fonts from the same typeface family, a designer ensures that the overall look remains consistent and harmonious, while still creating contrast and structure on the page. The selection process is both an art and a science. A designer considers the intended audience and the context where the text will appear. For a children's book, they might choose a rounded, friendly typeface. For the user interface of a banking app, they would select a highly legible and clean typeface that feels secure and trustworthy. They also think about readability. Will the text be read on a small phone screen or on a large printed banner? Some typefaces are designed specifically for screen use, with letter forms that remain clear even at small sizes. The goal is to make the experience of reading as effortless and effective as possible. This careful attention to detail is why designers insist on the distinction between typeface and font. For them, it's not just pedantic nitpicking. It reflects a deeper understanding of their craft. Being precise with their language allows them to communicate more effectively with other designers, developers, and clients. When a designer asks a client if they prefer a different font, they might be asking if the headline should be bolder, or if the body text should be italic. If they ask about changing the typeface, they're suggesting a fundamental shift in the entire visual identity of the project. This precision is essential for professional work. Now that you understand the difference, how can you make better choices in your own work? Whether you're creating a school presentation, a resume, or a birthday invitation, a few simple tips can help. First, think about the message's purpose. What is the feeling you want to create? If you want to appear professional and serious, a classic serif typeface like Georgia or a clean sans serif like Calibri is a safe and effective choice. If you're designing something fun, like a party flyer, you might explore more decorative or expressive typefaces. The key is to match the personality of the typeface to the personality of your message. Second, prioritize readability above all else, especially for long blocks of text. While a fancy script typeface might look beautiful for a headline, it would be very difficult to read as a paragraph. For body text, stick to simple, well-designed typefaces. Test your choices by reading a few sentences. Do your eyes flow easily across the words, or do you have to struggle to make out the letters? Also, be mindful of the number of typefaces you use. A common rule of thumb for beginners is to use no more than 2 different typefaces in a single document. This helps create a clean and organized look without overwhelming the reader. Finally, learn to use fonts to create a clear hierarchy. Use variations in size and weight, bold, regular, to guide your reader. Your most important message, the headline, should be the largest and boldest element. Subheadings can be slightly smaller or less bold, and the main text should be a comfortable size for reading. Using bold and italics sparingly for emphasis within your paragraphs can also help draw attention to key points. This structured use of fonts from within the same typeface family will make your document look more professional and make your information much easier to understand and digest. In conclusion, the distinction between a typeface and a font is more than just a technicality. It's about understanding the difference between a design and the tool used to render it. A typeface is the creative vision, the family of shapes that gives text its character. A font is the specific instance of that vision, the file that brings it to life on your screen or page. The next time you read a book, browse a website, or even look at a street sign, take a moment to notice the type. By seeing the choices behind the letters, you can develop a new appreciation for the silent, powerful art of typography that shapes our world.